Thanks for watching. We are delighted to have you with us on this meaningful storytelling adventure. Be sure to check out more heart touching tales on our channel, stories of brave children, caring friends, and magical journeys that highlight the values of kindness, family, and doing what's right. Today's story, The Dwarf's Ring. Written by Mukhtar Ahmad, this enchanting story weaves together mystery, compassion, and wisdom, reminding us how small acts of kindness can create a big impact. Subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories that spark imagination and nurture young hearts. All rights reserved. The Dwarf's Ring by Mukhtar Ahmad. Long ago, in a certain country, there was a village where a farmer lived with his wife and daughter. His daughter's name was Lala Rook. She was a very beautiful girl, about 15 or 16 years old. She was polite and always willing to help others in their times of need. Lala Rook helped her mother with household chores and tended to their chickens and goats. Every day, she would take the goats to graze in the nearby forest. While the goats munched on grass and leaves from bushes, Lala Rook would sit on a mound of earth, watching over them to ensure none of the goats strayed too far. She greatly enjoyed going into the open forest air with her goats. One day, before sunset, as she was driving the goats back home from the forest, she noticed something shiny on the ground along the path. When she picked it up, she saw that it was a tiny golden ring with a red gemstone set into it. She looked around, hoping to find the owner, but no one was nearby. She tied the ring into the corner of her scarf and thought to herself that if she ever found its owner, she would return it. Then she resumed her journey, herding the goats toward home. She had not gone very far when she saw a small dwarf sitting under a tree. He looked sorrowful and deeply troubled. Lala Rook approached him and said kindly, "Can I help you in any way? You seem troubled." The dwarf sighed deeply and replied in a sorrowful tone, "You cannot help me. No one can. This land is so vast, and I've lost it somewhere. Perhaps when I bent down to drink from the river, it slipped from my pocket and fell into the water." Hearing this, Lala Rook laughed and asked, "Did you, by any chance, lose a ring?" The dwarf jumped up in surprise. "How did you know I lost a ring?" he asked in astonishment. "I found a ring a little way back," said Lala Rook. "And from what you just said, I guessed it must be yours." She took the ring out of her scarf and handed it to the dwarf. The dwarf was overjoyed. He carefully placed the ring back in his pocket and said, "This ring is very precious. You could have sold it for a lot of money. But you are a kind and good hearted girl, without a trace of greed. I am grateful to you. I had bought this ring as a gift for my beloved wife. I'm just happy that your ring is back with you," said Lala Rook with a smile. The dwarf smiled in return. Then he pulled out a small silver box from his bag and handed it to Lala Rook. "Dear girl," he said, "I cannot give you a reward worthy of your goodness, as I have nothing valuable with me right now. But while passing through the forest, I found this box under the window of a witch's house. Inside it is a single seed, and I believe it's a magical seed. Plant it in the ground when you get home. Who knows, perhaps a tree will grow from it that bears gold and silver coins. If that happens, you will live in comfort and wealth." Lala Rook thanked the dwarf and took the little box from him. The dwarf then placed a finger from each hand into his mouth and blew a loud whistle. At the sound of the whistle, there was a rustling in the bushes nearby, and out came a horse, slightly taller than the dwarf himself. The horse neighed and stood beside him, munching happily on a mouthful of grass. The dwarf bid Lala Rook farewell, mounted his tiny horse, and within moments disappeared from sight. Lala Rookh returned home cheerfully. After arriving, she tied up her goats at their usual spot. Then, she chose a nice spot in the courtyard, dug a small hole, and buried the magical seed in the ground. After covering it with soil, she sprinkled some water over it and went on with her other chores. A little while later, her father returned home from the fields. Night had fallen. The family ate dinner and then went to bed. The next morning, when Lala Rookh woke up, she was astonished to see a pea plant growing exactly where she had buried the seed. She was surprised, first, that the plant had grown so quickly in just one night, and second, that it already had a pea pod hanging from it. She realized at once that this was the magic of the enchanted seed. She quickly plucked the pod and began to peel it open. But instead of finding peace inside, she saw a tiny little boy lying with his eyes closed. Lala Rookh wasn't a timid girl, so she wasn't frightened at all by the strange sight of the miniature boy. She gently took the tiny boy out of the pod and placed him on her palm, observing him curiously. The boy opened his eyes and sat up. Where am I? He asked, blinking in surprise. Have I arrived in the land of giants? I've never seen such a big girl before. You're in the palm of my hand, little one, Lala Rookh replied with a smile. I'm not a giant, I'm just a normal human being. It's you who are extremely small. Lala Rookh was delighted to see the little boy. I'm hungry, the boy said. Do you have anything I could eat? Lala Rookh chuckled. What could you possibly eat? Barley bread and butter would be far too big for you. Can you make walnut halwa? The boy asked eagerly. I can, said Lala Rookh, but I'll need to go to the mountains to gather walnuts. We don't have any at home. That's fine, said the boy. Take me with you. Lala Rookh carried the little boy in her hand and went to her mother to tell her everything. When her mother saw the tiny boy who had come out of a pea pod, she was frightened. She had never seen such a tiny human being in her life. Sensing her fear, the boy burst out laughing. Trying to hold back his giggles, he said, You're so big and still got scared of me, while I'm so small and didn't get scared of you. Ha ha ha. Though he was tiny, he spoke with charm and wit. His words made Lala Rookh's mother smile, and her fear quickly faded. Lala Rookh said to her mother, I won't be taking the goats to the forest today. I'll feed them here at home. I have to go to the mountains to gather walnuts so I can make halwa for the little boy. All right, her mother replied, but be very careful. The mountains can be dangerous. When you return, I'll make a bed for the boy from a coconut shell. I'll also sew tiny clothes and shoes for him. I really like this little fellow. If he were older, I'd marry you to him myself, she added with a teasing smile. Lala Rookh blushed at the mention of marriage, her cheeks turning pink, and she quickly left the room with the boy from the pea pod. Her father had already left for the fields before dawn, so he hadn't yet seen the boy. Soon after, Lala Rookh brought her father's horse from the stable. She placed the tiny boy inside a small velvet pouch with a mesh window, hung the pouch around her neck, mounted the horse, and set off towards the mountains. Upon reaching the foothills, she stopped to rest under the thick shade of some trees. She tied the horse to a nearby tree and then took the boy out of the pouch, placing him on her palm. He was curiously observing everything around him. We'll rest here for a while, said Lala Rookh. Now tell me, who are you, and how did you end up inside a pea pod? All of this feels like magic to me. You're right, said the boy. It is all because of a cruel sorceress. Let me tell you the whole story from the beginning. My name is Dilavar. I used to be an ordinary boy living with my parents in a village. One day, an epidemic broke out in our village, and my mother passed away. I was around 8 years old at the time. A few days later, my father remarried. My stepmother was never kind to me. She would beat me over the smallest things and complain falsely about me to my father every evening. Hearing her lies, my father would get angry and punish me. Years went by like this, and when I turned 18, one day my stepmother made another complaint. My father became so furious that he beat me badly and threw me out of the house. He told me never to show my face again. I had no home left in this world. Filled with sorrow and confusion, I began to wander, not knowing where I was headed. Eventually, I found myself in a dense forest. There, I saw a strange, black, castle like house. I was terribly hungry and hoped I might find something to eat inside. I entered the house. It was silent. In one room, I saw a hideous sorceress fast asleep on a bed. Across from her was another room with iron bars like a prison gate, and behind it, some children were locked up. They looked frightened and miserable. I walked closer, and one of the children whispered to me, "For heaven's sake, run. If the sorceress wakes up, she'll lock you up with us too." I comforted the children and asked them who they were and how they had ended up there. They told me that the sorceress captures children who wander far from home without telling their parents. They said we were those kinds of children, and that's how she caught us and brought us here. She makes us do all the house chores, and once we are done, she locks us up in this room and goes to sleep peacefully. Hearing their story made me very sad. I decided to help them. I unlocked the cell and freed them all, telling them to run straight home and never go anywhere again without informing their parents. They promised and happily ran off. Just as I was about to leave as well, I saw the sorceress returning. When she found the children gone, she immediately understood that I had freed them. Her face turned red with rage. She clenched her teeth and shouted furiously, "You've done me a great injustice by letting those children escape. I used to get all my chores done by them, and now I'll have to do everything myself. For this, you must be punished. I will use my magic to shrink you down and trap you inside a pea pod. Then I'll seal that pod inside a box and throw it out of my house. If you're lucky, someone might open the box and plant the pod. A pea plant will grow, and inside one of its pods, you'll be sleeping in a deep slumber. And only if a kind hearted girl picks that pod, makes walnut halwa for you, and feeds it to you, only then will you return to your true form. That is how I punish those who anger me." With that, she let out a terrifying laugh, mumbled some strange words under her breath, and blew on me. After that, I don't remember anything. Lala Rukh had been listening with great interest. When Dilavar finished his story, she said softly, "Dilavar, don't worry. I'll make you walnut halwa so the magic spell can be broken." Your story is so heartbreaking, it made me feel very emotional. You've suffered so much. But now, rest easy. You'll stay with us from now on, and no harm will come to you. Then she stood up. At the foot of the mountain were walnut trees. She picked some walnuts and returned home with Dilavar. Her mother had already prepared food, but Lala Rukh wasn't hungry. All she wanted was to quickly make the walnut halwa and feed it to Dilavar. She placed him gently on the ground, and he began running around the kitchen with excitement. Lala Rukh washed a small cooking pot, added butter, and roasted semolina in it. Then she mixed in raisins, pistachios, coconut, and the walnuts she had picked from the mountain. The delicious aroma of halwa filled the entire house. Soon, the halwa was ready. She plucked a guava leaf, shaped it into a tiny round plate, and placed the halwa on it, decorating it with silver foil. She put the plate in front of Dilawar. Since there was no spoon small enough in the house, Lala Rukh crafted a little spoon from the thick stem of a guava leaf. Dilawar began eating the halwa with that spoon. It was absolutely delicious. He even scooped up a little and offered it to Lala Rukh. She laughed and said, I made it for you. Go on, enjoy it. Lala Rukh's mother was sitting nearby. Smiling, Lala Rukh said to her, Mother, now Dilawar will be all right. God willing, it will all come true, said Lala Rukh's mother. But I'm still amazed, are there really boys so tiny? In this world? I was so afraid a chicken might peck him or a cat might take him to play with her kittens. Lala Rukh told her mother the entire story of Dilawar from beginning to end. Hearing it all, her mother was astonished and began cursing Dilawar's cruel father, stepmother, and the wicked sorceress. Suddenly, both mother and daughter were startled. A beam of rainbow colored light streamed through the open window, swirling around Dilawar in a magical spiral. The light was so bright it dazzled their eyes. After three full circles, a handsome young man of about 17 or 18, tall and graceful, emerged from the light, and then the light vanished. The boy smiled and said, Lala Rukh, I'm Dilawar. The spell has been broken. Lala Rukh was overjoyed to hear this. Her mother stared at him in astonishment. He looked just like a prince. Just then, Lala Rukh's father came home for lunch. When he saw Dilawar, he asked his wife who he was. She told him the entire story as well. After hearing everything, he too was amazed. They all had lunch together, and it was decided that Dilawar would stay with them from now on. He gladly agreed. Later, when Lala Rukh's father returned to the fields, Dilawar, Lala Rukh, and her mother sat together chatting. Dilawar said to Lala Rukh's mother, Now, I only have one fear left. Both Lala Rukh and her mother looked at him curiously. When he didn't say more, the mother asked, What fear, my son? Dilawar replied with mock sadness, The fear that you might forget what you said. What did I say? She asked in surprise. The promise you made this morning, that if I ever became big, you would marry me to Lala Rukh. Lala Rukh blushed deeply at these words, but her mother laughed and said, If I said it, I meant it. Why would I forget? A few days later, Dilawar and Lala Rukh were married. Now that Dilawar had a home, he needed to work to support it. So, he began going to the fields with Lala Rukh's father. He was hard-working and diligent, toiling from morning to evening. Previously, Lala Rukh's father only grew vegetables in his fields, but under Dilawar's guidance, they began cultivating wheat, sugarcane, barley, millet, and many other crops. Selling the crops brought in more money than Lala Rukh's family had ever dreamed of. Their home became prosperous, but more importantly, it overflowed with love, laughter, and kindness. They saved their earnings wisely, and before long, they built a beautiful new house. And so, they all lived happily ever after.